Una cosa no ha cambiado y no cambiará. Es nuestra naturaleza para una forma de entretenimiento. Como cualquier otro medio de entretenimiento, debemos crear una respuesta emocional para poder triunfar. Risas, miedo, goce, rabia, afección, sorpresa, pero sobre todo, orgullo de logro. Al final, gatillar esos sentimientos de nuestros jugadores es el verdadero juicio de nuestro trabajo. Esta es la medida final del éxito. Satoru Iwata. Este podcast, presentado por Iseri, comienza ahora. Este podcast es presentado por Iseri, reparación en equipo de cómputo. Visita nuestras redes sociales para más información. Satoru Iwata fue un programador de videojuegos y empresario japonés. Fue el cuarto presidente y director ejecutivo de Nintendo. Está considerado como el propulsor de la utilización de los videojuegos por un público más amplio. Pero, ¿qué camino tomó para llegar a ser reconocido como uno de los más grandes genios? Bueno, Iwata mostró interés en los videojuegos ya de joven y creó su primer videojuego sencillo cuando todavía estaba en el instituto. Posteriormente se graduó en Ciencias de la Computación en el Instituto Tecnológico de Tokio. En 1980, cuando todavía estaba en la universidad, comenzó a trabajar como desarrollador de videojuegos en la HAL Laboratory. En sus primeros años en esta empresa trabajó como programador en proyectos de colaboración con Nintendo, produciendo su primer videojuego comercial en el año 1983, participando en el desarrollo de videojuegos como Earthbound y la afamada serie Kirby. Parecía que todo le iba perfecto a HAL, tanto que a principios de los 90 decidieron expandir su estudio, construyendo un nuevo edificio para sus oficinas. Sin embargo, fruto de esta inversión y de otros factores circunstanciales, se encontró con una deuda de más de 5.000 millones de yenes en 1992. Se vieron forzados a pedir ayuda, y fue Nintendo la que los rescató del agujero en el que se habían metido, aportando dinero a la empresa a cambio de que ésta desarrollara juegos exclusivamente para las consolas Nintendo. Desde entonces, los destinos de las dos compañías han estado íntimamente relacionados y todas sus franquicias pertenecen a Nintendo. Durante la reconstrucción de la compañía, Satoru Iwata fue nombrado presidente de HAL. Uno de los primeros cambios que hizo en la política de la empresa fue el hecho de basar las pagas extra en los rendimientos personales de cada uno de los empleados. Cada marzo se evaluaba el potencial de cada trabajador frente al trabajo completado, algo que resultó ser todo un éxito, incentivando a sus compañeros. En el siguiente año consiguió devolver a su empresa el éxito que disfrutó anteriormente. Gracias a sus excelentes dotes de mando y visión de futuro, este potencial era seguido muy de cerca, pero de cerca, por Hiroshi Yamauchi, como se pudo ver posteriormente en los años siguientes.
¿Y quién es Hiroshi Yamauchi?
¿Otra vez tú? Creí haberte dejado en el capítulo anterior. ¿Qué rayos haces aquí, güey? No mames. Neta, ¿qué te pasa? ¿Qué chingados le pasó a tu voz?
Soy tu conciencia, idiota. No te vas a deshacer tan fácil de mí.
¿Sabes qué? O sea, neta, güey. Estoy por encima de esto, ¿sí? Estoy por encima de esto. O sea, déjame hacer el podcast, ¿sí? Por favor, déjame hacerlo. Déjame hacer el
Sí, ya sigue con el podcast. ¿Y quién es?
¡Me lleva la chingada! A ver, güey. Déjame hacer el podcast, ¿sí? A eso voy. Vale madres, güey, te digo. O sea, ¿vienes solamente a molestarme? ¿Vienes solamente a eso? Ah, ahora sí, ya te fuiste. Déjame hacer el pinche podcast, ya. Lo siento, escuchas, lo siento, sé que es castroso gritar y todo eso, pero este cabrón no es bonito vivir con él, neta. No es bonito vivir que te diga a qué horas, qué vas a hacer, si eso está mal, si no está bien. Ya me harté, güey. Ya, perdónenme. Pero tenía que expresármelo, o sea, es un maldito. ¿Sí? Ok. Prosigamos, ¿sí? Prosigamos. ¿No saben qué? Mejor no, mejor no. Es que, ven cómo es la conciencia, me calma la paciencia. Mejor les dejaré este fragmento de la presentación de Nintendo en el año 2005, donde resume Iwata su vida. Si saben inglés, es recomendable. Y si no, creo que hasta aquí se les acabó el video. Ya me voy. Adiós. Nos vemos la próxima semana con este mismo video. O no lo sé. Nos vemos la próxima semana para continuar hablando sobre el tema de Iwata.
Good morning. Many of you will have a lot in common with our next speaker, as he started out as a game developer himself. If you've played any of the Kirby, Earthbound, or Smash Brothers games, you've already met his inner self. Yet his vision of the future propelled him up the chain of command, landing him at the highest level of the video game industry. We are also particularly appreciative that he will be delivering his keynote in English and with a sore throat. Please join me in welcoming the top man at Nintendo Worldwide, President Satoru Iwata.
Thank you very much, Jamil. On my business card, I am a corporate president. In my mind, I am a game developer. But in my heart, I am a gamer. Today, I'd like to speak to you from my heart about our jobs and about our industry. I remember the first video game I ever played. It was Pong, and I loved it. By the time I was in high school, I was the first person in my class to buy an early Hewlett-Packard pocket calculator. I think I was one of the original early adapters. But where most people use their calculators for higher mathematics, I used mine to program video games. My first creation was a baseball game. I don't think anyone can say it has bad graphics because it has no graphics. Gameplay was represented only by numbers. But when I saw my friends playing that game and having fun, it made me feel proud. To me, this was a source of energy and passion. As that passion for games began to blossom, I think my life course was set. In 1978, I entered the Tokyo Institute of Technology. I would have loved to study video game programming, but no one was teaching it then. So I went to classes on engineering and early computer science. But after class, when my friends went back to their rooms to study, I took off on my motorcycle for one retail store in Tokyo. This was the first store to have the department entirely dedicated to personal computers. That was my hangout, and I was not alone. There were others there who also looked at those early computers and thought the same thing I did. How could we play games on them? We became friends, formed a club, and soon rented an apartment in the Akihabara district of Tokyo, where we began designing our own games. We worked until midnight or later every night, and that group of friends is what became the company known today as HAL. The name came from the computer in the movie 2001 Space Odyssey, HAL. We thought that name was very cool. Also, this is what I looked like back then. Thank you. Like all game creators, I was extremely cool too, don't you think? So, I don't really remember how, but I managed to keep up with my classwork and graduated from the institute. But when it came time to take a job, I had the distinction of joining the smallest company of any graduate in my class. I left to become only the 5th full-time employee of HAL. When I told my father this, you can imagine, it was not the happiest moment in the history of my family. People sometimes ask me what I did when I was hired at HAL. Well, the answer is that I was a programmer, and an engineer, and a designer, and I marketed our games. I also ordered a lot of takeout food, and I helped clean up, and it was all great. Perhaps the biggest moment in the history of HAL came when we heard the rumor that Nintendo was developing a machine capable of incredible new graphics, the Famicom, or NES as it was called here in the States. We knew that this machine was for us, so we used every contact we could to get a meeting with Nintendo, sure that one of our ideas would become an instant hit. Yes, Nintendo did hire us, but not to amaze the world with one of our projects. Instead, they told us to fix one of their projects, a game that had seriously fallen behind schedule. Instead of creating a game, we repaired a game, and it eventually was released as NES Pinball. That experience taught us that even artists must know the business side of game development. After all, if a game never comes to market, there is very little chance of it making any money. Working in those days was also instructive in another way. Because the graphics were so primitive by today's standards, we asked ourselves how we could spur the players' imaginations as a substitute for what we couldn't display on the screen. Think about this. Someday our games won't look any better. What will we do then? Well, our work was satisfactory enough that we formed a close association with Nintendo. And as HAL invented a couple of early franchises, we also learned other lessons. Our first Kirby game taught us the value of teamwork. Since not everyone can be a Miyamoto, we discovered that ideas can come from several team members building on each other to make something superior to what one person could invent. Then we worked with the famous Japanese creator, Shigesato Itoi, who was already an avid gamer himself, to develop his first idea for a game, That series, called Mother in Japan and released here in America as Earthbound, proved to us that ideas take on a special appeal when they become interactive. Many years and many projects later, I went to work for Nintendo full-time, and then one day, about 3 years ago, Mr. Yamauchi appointed me to succeed him as company president. Of course, this was a great honor, but it was also a great challenge. I knew this would require committing much more time and assuming much more responsibility. But fortunately, game developers are familiar with such things. So, I'd like to move on this morning and answer two questions that I'm often asked now that I've had 2 decades of experience in the video game world. Excuse me. First, over the last 20 years as a developer, what things have changed? And second, what things have stayed the same? One thing that has not changed and will not change is our nature as a form of entertainment. Like any other entertainment medium, we must create an emotional response in order to succeed. Laughter, fear, joy, anger, affection, surprise, and most of all, pride of accomplishment. In the end, triggering these feelings from our players is a true judgment of our work. This is the bottom line measurement of success. Secondly, we must always weigh challenge and reward. How much work and frustration a player is willing to withstand depends on the personality and skill of the player. Core gamers have a huge appetite for challenge. Casual gamers want less difficulty. At Nintendo, we believe it is our responsibility to make games for all skill levels. And most definitely, that includes people who are not playing our games now. The third thing that has not changed is the importance of the idea. Of course, it is
Este
variable
podcast
to
continuará el
devise
próximo
an
23 de
extension
julio
or
del
offshoot
2016.
of a current idea.
Si te gustó la presentación del
But
señor
it is
Satoru Iwata,
invariable
abajo en
to
la
come up
descripción
with a brand new
encontrarás
idea
el link
of
que
what
te
a
llevará
game
a
can
la
be.
presentación completa. Gracias por tu atención. Este podcast fue presentado por Iseri, reparación en equipo de cómputo a domicilio. Visita nuestras redes sociales abajo en la descripción.